Regardless of how you feel politically, American infrastructure has been something that has been talked about as long as I can remember, and likely as long as you can remember also. So no one is surprised that there isn't a 100% agreement on this infrastructure bill that is currently on the table. Although what is different about this particular time, they have stuffed a lot of things in this bill about cryptocurrency. Now, they've been stuffing things in bills for years. The difference is, if you're in the cryptocurrency world, which you likely are if you're watching this video, this one happens to affect us, and it does not only affect the USA, it pretty much affects the entire globe when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Let's first take a second to acknowledge how far cryptocurrency has come. The very fact that on the floor right now in Washington, cryptocurrency seems to be at the forefront of debate and contention should show you how far things have come since Satoshi Nakamoto decided to invent Bitcoin. So even though these times are kind of scared times for certain people, what you have to realize is the fact that this is being discussed finally really gives Bitcoin that extra level of credibility, and not only Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies in general that are much needed. Because if it wasn't a big deal, they would not be talking about it in the Senate. So we already knew it was a big deal. Now the rest of the world understands that. So as they say a lot, all publicity is good publicity. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but in this instance, the fact that they're talking about it in the Senate is massively good for Bitcoin, because people who really don't give a rip about cryptocurrency or understand it are going to see this and they're going to finally look into it. So this will win over some people. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a recap on what has previously happened with this infrastructure bill, where it is currently at, and where I think it's headed. I'm also going to let you know short-term and long-term what I think the implications of this bill are if it is passed, and what that's going to mean for cryptocurrency. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Before you invest, make sure to seek the help of a professional and do your own research. Don't just trust anybody out there. You need to make sure that you understand before you invest in anything. Well, let's start this thing off by mentioning the United States Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen. Well, if you know anything about crypto, more so on a deeper level, then you certainly have heard the name Janet Yellen. First of all, let me start off by saying you can look on YouTube or practically anywhere. You're going to see that Janet Yellen is all about banking. You're going to also see all of the money she receives from different speaking engagements about banking and about the banking industry. So it should come as no surprise to you that that would be in direct competition with cryptocurrency. Although I actually don't fully think it is, but we have to admit, yeah, part of it is. When you talk about DeFi, not needing the bank, at least some of the verbiage that people in the crypto space constantly talk about, let's just face it, it directly contrasts to the current banking structure around the world. And what I recently heard is that Janet Yellen is in some hot water because I guess allegedly she has accepted $7.2 million in speaking fees just from Citibank alone. Just think about that. Now I mention her because she's really the front runner for cramming this bill with a bunch of crypto related crap, unfortunately. Regardless what you do believe, politically or whatever, people writing stuff into law and the fact that they're writing it on stuff they have absolutely no clue about is just reckless. It's almost arrogant, if you will. The fact that you have the audacity to try to enact something into law that you have absolutely no clue about. Now, I think the only reason why anyone would do that if they had some sort of interest in doing so. And in this particular case, like I mentioned, I believe Janet Yellen has all the interest in the world to do that. And I believe it's because of the banking system and that they have supported her throughout the years. Remember, these are politicians. So regardless of what side you like, don't be fooled. And just to talk about the bill and what's included, really the language in there is so far reaching, it would really affect every single person in the crypto space to some degree. There's a lot of language about brokers. There's some confusion about who would be the brokers. Even at the lowest levels, having to know who your customer is, like KYC, and even in aspects where it's just simply impossible. That furthermore shows you that they had no clue what they were doing when putting pen to pad in terms of this bill. I'm not going to really touch on exactly the specifics of what's in the bill, only because of the fact you can look right now on YouTube, on the news. This information's everywhere. So you can quickly see exactly what is in the bill. You can hear different people talking about it. So I'm not going to go deep into it, but just know that if the whole thing were to pass, it could be a direct blow to crypto and cripple the industry from a US standpoint. And I'll elaborate later what I think those long-term effects are, but just know in the short term, absolutely it would probably have some effects. When I'm doing this video, I'm assuming that you have a little bit of prior knowledge about the bill and what's going on and its attempt to reach very far and basically overshoot regulation on crypto, basically to a crippling point. Thankfully, several senators from Wyoming, Pennsylvania, Oregon, and even Texas did express how they thought there needed to be an amendment for the language that was in the infrastructure bill centered around cryptocurrency. So I also think at the same time where we have all this going on that's very negative, it is great to see some senators banding around crypto in a good fashion. Now, understand when we got Texas, we have a lot of different parts of crypto industry, such as mining, flocking to Texas. So we do see where this is in the senators' best interest as well. But at the end of the day, who really cares? We do need people like this standing up. We also are seeing some more famous people coming out, such as Elon Musk, speaking on what he thinks about it, as well as some others. So the good thing is there are people fighting to get this language amended. What's silly about this bill is, if you're going to regulate crypto, why wouldn't you actually outline what the actual taxes around it specifically need to be? You can tell that this thing is just rushed, thrown out there. They've just put this in there to sweep it up, deal with this cryptocurrency thing and move on. And what does cryptocurrency really have to do with the infrastructure anyway? Especially the American infrastructure, the parts that we're talking about. I heard it the other day mention that this would be like pretty much crippling the internet in its early days. Think about if that had been done, what the implications are. And I think we're seeing similar stuff here because of the fact that the people that put this pen to pad about this bill have no clue what they're doing. People, this is really simple. Capital gains tax. If this wasn't a direct blow to crypto and that wasn't the intention, why wouldn't they just specify straight out, just like equities market, it's capital gains and it's simple. Specify some other stuff if you need to, but when it comes to those deeper parts of the crypto world, such as DeFi, staking, and those types of things, set it aside until you really get to do your research and you understand it. But remember, I told you there's an agenda. There's definitely an agenda, and that is the reason why they want to just cram this in here and move forward. If the bill is passed through the Senate, then we still have the House. But I can't sit here for 1 second without lying and telling you I'm comfortable with it going to the House and act like they're going to clean up what the Senate has messed up. I'm not confident in that, and you're not either, especially if you understand American politics. Even the White House was on board with parts of the amendment as far as excluding proof of work miners from the bill, but the truth is it's just not enough. That doesn't cover a host of other issues that are within this bill that need to be fixed. Look, at this time it looks like this bill is going to get pushed through. I do believe Tuesday morning, August the 10th, 2021, they will be voting on this. It'll probably make it to a vote by that time, and I do believe it's going to get pushed through. As I stated earlier, I'm going to explain to you what my thoughts are and what the implications are short term and long term. So here we go. So just as a recap, the bill has been going back and forth, this infrastructure bill, which got a bunch of crypto related crap wrapped up into it, as these politicians always do. And currently we're at a stage where there will soon be a vote on it, and it is likely to pass. There was a 68 to 29 vote to end debate over the legislation, which they have been going back and forth over. Doesn't mean all the deliberation is completely over, but they have voted to move forward regardless. And as I've stated several times, the bill is likely to pass. Here is what I think in terms of the short-term and long-term effects of this bill passing. I do think that if it passes, they will have to backtrack at some point because they will have screwed it up. In the short term, I think it could rock the market some. I think it could obviously have an effect because, as we know in crypto, any little thing moves the market. And I think it could bring this little short-term pop we've had in crypto over the last week or so to a halt somewhat. But if what I'm hearing is correct in the fact that these things won't be enacted until 2023, I do believe that the current bull run we're in will continue. And I believe we will see the gains that we have expected throughout this whole bull run. Now, down the road, we're going to have to contend with some of these challenges, but ultimately I think that them rushing this is somewhat like prohibition. They're only going to force crypto into an underworld. Regardless of whether the US does this or not, it's not going to stop the rest of the world when it comes to crypto, and it's not going to stop Americans either. They're not going to give up their crypto. And I don't think forcing crypto into an underworld is going to help the problem. It's only going to make it worse, and they will be forced to backtrack. Long term, crypto is resilient. It's going to live on. It has continued to do that over the past decade since Bitcoin's inception, and it'll continue to do that. So ultimately, I think this is yet just another hurdle that cryptocurrency will jump and will find a way to get past. Remember, these scares have happened time after time over the years. This one is a pretty big deal, but cryptocurrency will get past it. Thanks for watching the content. Like, comment, subscribe. And as well, if you enjoy the content, make sure to share it. Thank you for watching Perry Unlikely, and I'll see you next time.